Round 7 of the Record of Ragnarok has made it to its end. While we get a clear-cut winner, which is Qin Shi Huang, he was able to defeat Hades, and most of us already knew this because based on the spoilers that had came out a couple of weeks ago, where they show who was the winner, showcasing that Hades has been defeated. He broke his promise to Poseidon and the rest of his other brothers, his Greek gods brothers, because he failed to eliminate against Qin Shi Huang. But we were able to see that the Chinese emperor was able to get the W for humanity, and all of this concluded. But this whole entire 2 chapters was heavily focused on the battle between Hades and Qin Shi Huang, while both of them are going all out, while they're both fully exhausted, their energy is just drained, and they're all going all out in these attacks in these 2 chapters. So we're going to see how this concluded, where we were left off from the previous chapter. Towards the end of Hades' backstory, we see that Hades, he was able to do his one and most powerful attacks against Qin Shi Huang, and we see Qin Shi Huang, he's able enough to try to stand his ground, because as the smoke is clear, we see pieces of his shoulder is about to be ripped off. As everyone is shocked because the power of Hades, of his last attack, was able to go through Qin Shi's defenses. And as the gods, they're all smirking and laughing because this is an opportunity for them to get the W. All of the Greek gods and every other god, they're just smiling because this is their chance. And we see that Odin, he's just like, so this is the attack that Hades actually used to go ahead and fight against the Titans. But not only this was a huge shocker that Zeus never saw the true power of Hades, because he even stated to Hermes, he was like, wow, this is my first time actually seeing this attack. I never knew how powerful this guy is. And even Hermes is like, yeah, I didn't know how powerful Hades was. His strength is truly astonishing. And during that course of time, while those 2 guys are talking, we see Ares, he is just crying tears of joy, just admiring his elder brother, because just to showcase that so far at this battle, currently at this current moment, it seems like Hades is about to get the victory, because we know that Qin Shi, his defense is really crazy strong. So the fact that Hades was able to go through it and able to break his defense, it just showcased that, yeah, like this is very, very dangerous for humanity. And even to the point where Go and Brihilda, they're actually are freaking out as well, because we see pieces of the armor is literally dissolving and disappearing. And this is a very huge bad look, because not only that the armor had disappeared, pieces of the armor, but it also affected the Valkyrie as well, that's assisting Qin Shi Huang, because we see in a panel that she's also has a piece of her shoulder actually dissolving as well, and her whole arm and parts of the upper body is about to break. It looks like a glass. And so during that course of time, it really did hurt her, because even though Qin Shi Huang, he gets injured because piece of his shoulders actually is blown off, the Valkyrie is actually feeling the effect as well. So Qin Shi, he asks the Valkyrie, he's like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm great, I'm okay, there's nothing I can handle. And while Qin Shi apologized to her, saying that it's my fault that you got hurt, and she says, compared to how bad you got it, it's nothing. But she asked him, are you okay? And Qin Shi says, compared to the pains of others and mine, I can bear everything. And as we see that the Valkyrie, she says, man, I cannot believe you, as she is having the sign of relief that Qin Shi, he's able to stand tall. But we see that the other fighters of the humanity side, they're actually looking at this side differently, and they're just wondering if Qin Shi is going to actually make it, because not only that he cannot use his heavily hands defense anymore, but he still has his trump card for the air bubble to block it off. So it's actually at a toss-up at this current moment. So during this time, we see Hades, he's raising up his spear, pointing at Qin Shi, and he says, take pride. you're the one who drives me into this resort, into Deimos. Because Quan Chi, he was able to push Hades to his limits. So during that course of time, Quan Chi, he's asking his Valkyrie, he's just like, hey, we need to find a strategy to do this. So this next attack, we will give it all that we have. But the Valkyrie was just like, man, that was pathetic of what you just told me just now. She was like, don't you said that you are a king? Don't you want to be a king? The way how you said it and sound, you just sound like you just a bitch. So during that course of time, Quan Chi's just like, you're right. He was like, I want to win no matter what. As the Valkyrie, she is smiling and liking his attitude. And then she's like, okay, I know. So as this happened, she says, you kings are so stubborn, as they both combine and starting to work together. And we see that Quan Chi, he's powering up and forming this new technique, which he is able to summon a sword. And with this sword, he's able to go ahead and try to go ahead and do some offense to go and attack against Hades. As Quan Chi, he goes and he's ready to go ahead and attack. He says, I am the emperor of kings amongst kings, and a king's only take pride on protecting his people. As Hades, he's liking this vibe, he's liking this energy, he wants all this smoke. He says, exactly, oh lofty kings. Now he's talking to his spear and he says, now let us tear his heart, Domus. And then as we see the two kings looking, staring at each other, one on the left and one on the right, as it says for Hades, he who is born of the prize of the god and laid down his own life, the king of the netherworld. And he who knew the pain of others and fought for the sake of his people, the kings who where it began, Quan Chi Hung. As we both see them in their throne in a silhouette form, and it's showcased, and it says only a king can understand the mindset of the king. And these two kings could both tell that the end of the match was now. And then as both of them are posing and they're about to go ahead and do their final strike, while everyone is sitting there intensively trying to see who's going to win this blow and who's going to win this match. So as both of them both start to go ahead and charge up, we see that Ares, he went and strike first. As Quan Chi Hung, he goes ahead and go into the defense while he used his form to go ahead and cut the attack of Hades. So as both of these weapons clash towards each other, is a huge blast that comes through. But Hades was able enough to knock the sword away from Quan Chi Hung. And we see that Quan Chi Hung, he's trying to dodge the attack, but he was able to get hit on his left shoulder, where his left shoulder was able to get cleaned off through. And as Quan Chi Hung, he is flying back. Humanity, his bodyguard, everyone is in shock that how powerful, and that the fact that Quan Chi lost this challenge so far. So as Quan Chi, he is just flying away, Hades, he is just pouncing with breath because it takes so much energy. And remember, as much as he's using Deimos, the most powerful attack and the powerful ability that he has is also draining his life force. So it says that the king of the netherworld strike has overcome the king of men. So everyone is just watching this fight and they're in just disbelief, and they're just like, bruh, like, all right, man, you know, Quan Chi Hung, you gotta get up, you gotta get up, you gotta get up. And then even his Valkyrie says, even at full power, I couldn't land a hit against Hades. As Quan Chi, he is just like amazed. Like he's just like he's just ignoring her and just saying it's beautiful, as he's staring at the stars. And you just see a silhouette of him being naked in outer space, looking at the star. And it says, what a beautiful star I see, because his eyes have stars. And then so he gets up, and Hades just amazed that the fact that after that blow, Quan Chi, he was able to get up, and now he only has one arm, and everyone from the humanity side, they're cheering. As the crowd, they're saying, Quincy, please stop. Even his bodyguard saying, please stop. You did enough. Please, like, just stop. Like, no, don't get up. But Quincy, he's not having this. He's showcasing everyone that he is that dude. And he is saying to them that he's like, hey, a king never doubts. A king never yields, a king never relies, and a king will never surrender. As he's getting up with his one arm and his sword, and as he's ready to continue this fight. And we see that Hades, he's loving this. He's loving this spirit, and he is just loving this fight at this current moment. And then as that chapter ends of 63, we continue in chapter 64 while everyone is just looking all shocked that Quincy Hung, he's continuing this fight. And as both of these titans, they're just staring at each other, humanities, they're cheering because they're seeing that Quincy Hung, he is not going to give up without a fight, and that they start to believe that Quincy Hung, he's able to do that. And as his current thought, he says, I can hear them, the voices of the people. And then as he admiring and he's visioning himself as a kid, as he's drawing the sword, the bodyguard, she is amazing, starts to cry because not only that the kid that she came to protect and watch over, he was able to fulfill the promise that they had made and to unite the people together to bring happiness and not hatred, and that she's able to see that he is the greatest king in this battlefield. So while that's going down, everyone is just admiring his fighting spirit and everyone is just looking. As we see that Quincy Hung, he's talking to his Valkyrie and he says, look, I know that we don't want to give up, but what are we going to do exactly? And Quincy says that I'm going to use the heavily hand defense one more time. And the Valkyrie is just surprised because she was just like, wait, like how are you going to do that, bro? Like, you don't got no hands. And Quincy Hung saying like, hey, trust me. And she says, you're just axing. No. And then as she powers up and she believes in Quincy Hung, they both power all their power into this sword. And then Hades, he's just admiring. He says, I consider myself proud to have been able to fight you. As both gods and the humanity are both staring intensely while both of these guys are going at it one more time to go ahead and try to go and clash. And we see both of them are getting ready, all charged up and everything. As Hades, he goes and he used his attack. And then while Quincy Hung, he goes ahead and he's purposely standing still, waiting for the right moment to strike. And he says, against a full power attack from a king of the Netherworlds, which seems as if it will kill me with a simple glaze. And then as he is calming down, he's just waiting for the right moment. He properly put his swords into the tip of Hades' spear. And then he was able to use heavily hand defense. And everyone's in shock. Everyone's just like, wait, what? And then as that happened, we see Quincy Hung, he's able to use the air bubble technique. And he's able to blast it on the spear. And as the spear starts to crack, everyone is just in disbelief. Everyone's just like, wait, what? Like, huh? Like, how is this even possible? And then all of a sudden, the spear starts to break because we see that the sword, it continues to go through Deimos. And as it went through Deimos, destroying it, Quincy Hung, he's able to land and stab Hades, and all the gods, they're just in shock. All the gods and humanity, they're in shock. They're in disbelief that how the fact that, Hades got his spear destroyed. And during that course of time, Hades is saying magnificent. And then as he's getting ready to go ahead and strike Quincy Hung with his broken spear, Quincy Hung, he finished him off while cutting Hades in half. And we see that Hades, he's falling back, and he says, from a king, he is happy. And that during that course of the battle, he is apologizing to his brothers, saying that, I'm sorry, I didn't complete my vows. I'm sorry that I broke my promise. I had failed you as an older brother. Please forgive me. As he's laying down and his whole body is disappearing, breaking and going into dust. And during this course of time, everyone is just in shock. And we see that Quin Shi Huang, he's about to fall. And it seems like he's about to actually lose the battle too, because not only that Hades actually like died, it seems like everyone's just holding up. But luckily, Quin Shi Huang, he was able to get his balance. And as he was able to get his balance, it declares that Quin Shi Huang, he was able to be the victory of this battle. And he says to himself that I am the grateful that I could spare with you the king of the Netherrealm, as he's showing respect to the king of the Netherrealm, and everyone else is also saluting as well. And the winner is Quin Shi Huang in 12 minutes and 57 seconds, which close to 13 minutes. This match lasted 13 minutes. So at the end of this battle, Quin Shi Huang, he won this fight against Hades, and he is the clear-cut victory of this round of Record of Ragnarok. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. What was your favorite moments? Do you guys think that Hades should have won? Do you think that Quin Shi should have won? Or do you think that both should have been a tie? Because I thought that this was going to be a tie, but Quin Shi, he won, and this fight was pretty okay. I did like both of these guys' attitude, and so let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like and subscribe. And remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out there.